I went to the pedicure shop to borrow the toilet. The police come to crack down on pornography. He caught me without saying a word. The police officer who interrogated me turned out to be my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend glanced at me coldly. "What set meal did you order?" I thought about it. "The starch intestine that I haven't received yet," answered truthfully. The supreme VIP ex-girlfriend makes a smile. Mocking tone. "Long time no see. I underestimated you. I didn't expect you to be having fun now." My ex-girlfriend and I sat across from each other in the interrogation room. She is playing with a pen in her hand. The eye swept across me. Calm. I have imagined countless times what it would be like to reunite with Sang-yu. But I never expected such a scene. She is a policeman. I'm a suspect. An hour ago, I bought starch sausage on the street and was frying it. I suddenly felt the need to urinate. So I went to the pedicure shop next door and borrowed the toilet. After asking the front desk why I came. Say it with a straight face. Our toilets are not available for borrowing. But people have 3 urgent needs. I really can't hold it in anymore. There are no other shops around. I put my hands together. Keep pleading. I even took out my mobile phone and asked to scan 10 yuan. Give him a roll of his eyes. Say reluctantly. If you're in such a hurry, go ahead. Go to the right and go to the end to warn you. Shouldn't listen. Don't listen to what you shouldn't see. Don't look at me and nod. After solving important problems, walk out leisurely. At this time, there were rapid footsteps outside the door. Immediately afterwards, someone shouted that the police were coming, and there was a chaos of chaos. Before I could react, a few policemen walked in and took a look. Said expressionlessly. They all took me away and I was shocked. Quickly defend. Police comrade. It's none of my business. I'm just here to borrow the toilet. A young policeman glared at me. Ask. Do you want to say? This is your first time and you don't know anything. I nodded blankly. Thinking. This policeman is pretty smart. Unexpectedly, he snorted coldly. Continue. I've seen too many people like you. If anything happens, let's talk about it back at the bureau. When I was taken into the police car, the boss of Starchy Intestine was also stunned. While waiting for the car to start. Only then did he realize what he was doing and he followed the car and called me brother. Your intestines. My starch intestines. The police brought it back this time. Many police stations are overcrowded. I cower in the corner. I kept thinking in my mind. How do I convince the police that I am innocent? Next to him is a charming girl. She touched my arm with her elbow. Ask. Big brother. It's your first time and the girl's eyes are wide open. An expression of disbelief. I reacted immediately. She misunderstood. He waved his hand quickly and said. Not what you think. The young policeman just now spoke up. In a corner with a bad tone. What are those two with yellow hair wearing hip-hugging skirts and big pants and slippers talking about? I don't even care where this place is. You two come here. We walked towards him. Suddenly he came up from behind. A person's eyes collide unexpectedly. I quickly lowered my head. Never expected that. The visitor is actually my ex-girlfriend. What happened to Sang-yu? Xiao Zhang. Sang-yu asked Xiao Zhang. Simply explain what happened just now. At the end, he also emphasized that he did not forget to flirt at the police station. I raised my head suddenly. I saw a hint of sarcasm flashing through Sang-yu's eyes. My mind is blank. There used to be burning love in these eyes. There was also deep hatred. But it has never been so indifferent as now. Leave him to me. Sang-yu pointed at the lights in my interrogation room. A sense of coldness. Sang-yu. A businesslike look. After asking several questions about personal information, it was me who was defeated first. There is a cynical smile on the corner of the mouth. I lazily spoke. Officer Sang. Don't you know all this? The pen in his hand paused and he looked straight over again and asked what set meal you ordered. I thought about it. The store said this is the largest amount among all the starch sausage set meals and is cost-effective. A smile finally appeared on his calm face. Said with sarcasm. Long time no see. I quickly explained the cause and effect of the matter. Officer Xiao Zhang happened to open the door and come in. After looking at me, He whispered something to Sang-yu. After he goes out. Sang-yu said calmly. Went to check the surveillance. The receptionist will also vouch for you. Confirm that you are indeed going to borrow the toilet. You can go. I'm finally innocent. After going out. Officer Xiao Zheng changed his previous prejudice against me. Looked at me with a smile. Looked at Sang-yu again. Then he slapped his forehead. Suddenly realized. Falling Sang-yu. Is this the guy in the photo in your wallet? Why do the photos look so familiar? So does Sang-yu still have my photo? I have mixed feelings in my heart. Sang-yu's slightly amateurish voice. I remember that happened several years ago. I had already thrown away the photos. How do you still remember that I tightened my hand on the side of my tight body and lowered my eyes and smiled to myself? We have been separated for 5 years. The division was so brutal. Why did Sang-yu keep my photo? When Sang-yu walked me to the door. Whispered something. Feel sorry. We didn't do our job well this time. Make you suffer innocently. I don't care about a misunderstanding. Checked it out. It's good to go. Sang-yu suddenly called me from behind. I don't know why, but I look back under the sun. She stood there biting her lip. Ask. How are you doing? How are your wife and children? A throbbing pain in my heart. But I still have a bright smile. Little common people stutter. As long as you can goof around. The phone rings. I connected Chin Man's tender voice and heard the dead ghost. Where did you go and fool around and you still haven't come back? I responded. Go home immediately. Sang-yu's face became colder inch by inch. Aren't you and your wife more in love than gold? Now it's actually a different way. Do you have any shame? I raised my eyebrows and sneered. When I have no shame. Haven't you all seen Sang-yu? I laughed out loud. Red eye circles. Suddenly he turned around and looked at her lonely back. I really want to call her. Hold her in my arms like before. But I know. I can't. I have more important things to do. Sang-yu and I met in high school. She is a good student with excellent academic performance. The white swan from a scholarly family. And I am a wild dog in the alley. My father's gambling ruined the family and forced my mother to run away while pregnant. Two very different people. Meet on a rainy day. Sang-yu was surrounded by a group of gangsters in the alley. He was all wet. There are clear slap marks on his face. But he was still stubborn and refused to give in. Find the right moment. When fleeing. He ran into my arms. I looked down at him with a cynical smile on his face. Brother, I'm happy to hear that. Just you. He pursed his lips. A moment later. Called brother softly. I smile wider. Touched his head. Keep him behind you. On fighting. I have never convinced anyone in this film. It's not because of how awesome I am. But because I'm not afraid of death. No one cares about me living anyway. Those gangsters were quickly scared away by me. We met again in a class I had not been to for a long time. In the whispers of the whole class. I walked to the last row and sat down expressionlessly. The next day I found an exquisite lunchbox on the desk. There is also a note attached next to it. Expand is Zhuanxio's notes. Right, thank you. For many days. For the first time, I go to class every day. Not surprisingly, I receive it every day. Lunchboxes with different styles. One day in the corner. I stopped Sang-yu who was passing by me. Ask. Why do you want to try it with me? Sang-yu raised her eyes and glanced at me. A cold look on his face. Just to say thank you. Study hard. We'll talk about the rest after the college entrance examination. I wisely let him go. I don't know who saw it. The storm in the class the next day. Said I wanted to chase Sang-yu. Everyone sneered. Feng Shiyan looks pretty good. But a family like his. Sang-yu won't like him. High school time flies by. After college entrance examination. I enrolled in the police academy. I didn't expect that Sang-yu also secretly reported to the police academy. His mother was crying and fussing when she got to school. He even slapped Sang-yu hard in front of the grade director. A few slaps couldn't make him change his mind. The night before Sang-yu's 18th birthday. I suddenly received a text message from him. Only a few short words. Tomorrow is my birthday. Are you coming? Suddenly, I pictured him biting his lip. Replied. I ordered a cake in advance. Wearing white shirt and jeans. After tidying up, I went out. I didn't expect to meet the same gang of gangsters from before again. Enemies meet. Extremely jealous. They are outnumbered this time. He was smiling arrogantly with a stick in his hand. When I knock them down. It's already dark. Large blood stains. Blot out from white shirt. I groped for the smashed cake. Pick up and open the phone. Sang Yu's text messages. Just come in at this time. Are you still coming? I wiped the blood on my face. Wait for me back. When we arrived downstairs at his house. It's late at night. Sang Yu wears a pure white dress. We are seeing off guests at the corridor not far away. The other party is a boy of similar age. Wearing glasses. Polite. Sang Yu patted the man on the shoulder. I coughed lightly. They looked over in a blink of an eye. Compared with that boy. I'm so embarrassed right now. When you see the blood on me. Sang Yu's smiling face disappeared immediately. Turn into distress. After the boy figured out the situation. Say eagerly. Go to the hospital quickly. Sang Yu took my hand and called me away. I hold him back. He turned back without knowing why. I asked with a cold face. Didn't you say you won't talk about your boyfriend? Play with me. He was confused. Moment. Turn around and laugh. Eyes on the man with glasses. Look at him and smile. Now it's my turn to be confused. He chuckled. A pair of eyes full of playfulness. I'm just playing with you. What can you? I lower my head. But slowly he let go of his hand. The man with glasses can't stand it anymore either. Said with a serious look. Hello. Introduce. I'm his cousin. Sang Yu accompanied me to the hospital after the bandaging was completed. We sat on the bench in the corridor and rested. Sang Yu picked up the shapeless cake and looked at it. Feel sorry. I messed up. I whispered. He shook his head. Slowly put your head on my shoulder and say. Can you come? I'm very happy. I took a deep breath and asked him. Sang Yu. You like to play with me so much. Can I let you play with me for the rest of your life? University is the happiest time in my memory. We learn to practice dating. Even though there is a gap in family status. But at that time I wanted to rely on my own efforts. I can always make his parents accept me. Until I got a call from my father, a gambler. He told me. My sister I've never met is back. And she's pregnant. When returning to the rental house. Chin Man is sitting at the table putting on makeup. The bracelet on the wrist jingles. She glanced at me. Explain. How come it looks like eggplant beaten with frost? I whispered back. I met my ex-girlfriend today. Chin Man's movements paused and then he spoke in a longer tone. It was you who hid her photo under the bed. That one, you look through my things. I asked dissatisfiedly. Chin Man looked serious. I want to remind you. Be an undercover agent. Don't leave anything to others. Clues that could cast doubt on you. Finish the last eyebrow stroke. She went out in a charming manner. Pat my face before leaving. Reminder that the network will be closed soon. Be careful during this time. I walked to the bedroom silently. Take out a box from the secret compartment under the bed and open it. Inside is a photo. The girl smiles brightly and the white skirt flutters against the blue sky and green grass. Pain during the day. I sigh. Close eyes. Thinking back on how I destroyed such a smile with my own hands. After receiving a call from my dad. I asked for leave and hurried home. My dad is drunk. Slumped on the sofa. He was still cursing. And my biological sister Feng Xiao. Huddled in the corner. Eyes full of tears. There are bruises on the arms. That afternoon was the best time since I was born. Talking face to face with my sister for the first time. She said. Mom found a new home. Think she is a burden. Just drive her back. Looking for biological father. Unexpectedly, my father wanted to pay off his gambling debts. He actually asked her to accompany a man. She never got beaten to death. Throw on bed. Then she got pregnant. A few days later. Sang Yu's mother also came to see me. A formal suit. Woman with meticulously combed hair. said with a serious face. You and Sang Yu are not suitable. You two should break up. I smoked all night. When the sky is getting brighter. Sent a breakup message to Sang Yu. Then shut down. We met again in a crowded vegetable market. When I was out shopping for groceries with my sister, I saw Sang Yu standing silently not far away. He lost weight. Messy hair. The eyes are also a little swollen. I closed my eyes. Then he took his sister's hand with a natural expression. Walked to her step by step. The brokenness in his expression makes me feel suffocated. But still staring straight at me. This is why I broke up with you. I spoke slowly. She is pregnant. What can I do? Sang Yu still remembers what you said. You want to play with me? Then I will play with you now, tell the truth. He's much more exciting than you in bed. You slapped me on the face. Sang Yu trembled her lips and said. Square experiment. You don't believe it. Sometime later. Sang Yu also came to see me quietly several times. He hides poorly and is trained. I soon found out. Every time I pull my sister and look affectionate. Later. I've been absent from school for too long. Expelled from the police academy. Sang Yu and I's lives have completely taken a different path. Remember Chen Man's warning. I put the photo in the brazier. Watch the fiery snakes devour it bit by bit. Just like when I was young and naive. The phone rang. I picked up the voice of the boss, Viagra. Experimental Li Cheng was caught by a police officer. But they have no evidence. You go to the police station to pick him up. Have a good talk with those notes. Came to the police station to receive me again. Or Officer Xiao Zhang. When I heard that I was going to take Li Cheng back. His smile slowly disappeared. He asked me. What is your relationship with Li Cheng? I answered truthfully. Friend. There was contempt in his expression. Snorted from the nasal cavity. He said that Li Cheng was abducting and trafficking people. Many missing persons cases are related to him. You are actually friends with such a person. I smiled and took out the cigarette case from my pocket. Take out a cigarette butt and give it to Xiao Zhang. He frowned and refused. I don't care either. Put the cigarette in your hand and play with it. Officer Zhang. You keep saying that my brother has evidence of human trafficking? I'm not stupid either. No evidence. You can only keep him for 48 hours at most. I looked up at the clock. There are still 15 minutes left. I can wait until the hatred on Officer Zhang's face becomes more obvious. Sang Yu's voice sounded at the right time. With a touch of mockery. Xiao Zhang, stop bickering with him. Everyone knows the rules. After all, he used to be in the police academy. Xiao Zhang was stunned. Looked me up and down. Graduated from the police academy. Actually reduced to being friends with the suspect.